Hello, my beautiful, wonderful Arsenal Blueprint community. Now this season, I'm hoping for us to grow like Arsenal have been growing since Mikel Arteta took charge. Now, I crumbled. I crumbled at that. I admit, I bottled it. I couldn't face the cameras. I was distraught at the end of last season because I thought we was going to win it up till the point when William Saliba got injured. And when Rob Holding was his replacement, I'd have rather we had Kivior. I'd have rather seen Tierney as left centre-back, Gabriel put to the right centre-back, and we go from there. For me, Tierney's 10 times better defender than Rob Holding. Thomas Partey fell off a cliff. Arsenal's confidence went. It's one thing bottling it for fourth for Tottenham the season before. It's another thing bottling it when you're going for a Premier League title. And Arsenal crumbled under the pressure because it was our title. It was our title. And it was very similar. It's strange. It's really strange. Younger viewers won't remember this, but the season when Manchester United went on to win a treble, right? We were that close from beating them in an FA Cup semi-final. It went to a replay. Yeah, it went to a replay. And Ryan Giggs scored that wonder goal in extra time. Vieira gave the ball away. Giggs, boom. Rest is history, right? And the league went down to the last day of the season. Yes, I'm smoking, ladies and gentlemen. No, it is not drugs. What is a drug? It's tobacco. We're not advertising that. But it's 3:30 in the morning and I've got football on the brain, right? Because Arsenal have been in the news. Now, we'll get to that in a minute. Now, when I first came on here, I was angry. Right? Because what's the word? This is strong words. You know when you love someone, have you ever been with a woman or a man and you've been in love with them for years, but you've fallen out of love with them, but you still love them, right? That's what happened with me and Arsenal under Arsene Wenger. Now we're talking 12, 13 years ago. We're talking 2010, 2011. I went to see him against Man United. We lost the game 2-1 at home. It was 22nd of January. I know it was the day after my birthday. I think Danny Welbeck got the winner. Valencia scored for them. Ryan Giggs, I remember us all shouting, "Where's your brother gone? Where's your brother gone?" I was in the North Bank. And it was all because he'd had an affair with his brother and that. But he had a worldie of a game. First time I'd ever seen Ryan Giggs in action. Wow, what a player he was. Anyway, my point is, after that day and that season, this badge, which I love, the team I love, I sort of fell out of love. And I stopped going. To matches. I just stopped going. I had no interest. Hardly. I always looked out for a result. But even when we won sometimes, unless it was a North London derby, I couldn't even be bothered to watch the games sometimes. When Emery come in, there was optimism and all that. We had a record signing, Nicola Pepe. And it turned out Emery didn't even want him, right? It was a club signing. And we saw some awful players along with him. Didn't work out. And for me, it was the 4-1 smashing at Chelsea's hands in Turkey. Oh, no, was it Turkey or was it? It wasn't Turkey, was it? It was Azerbaijan, Baku. I'm sure it was in Baku. Awful place for fans to go to. Awful. And they tore us to shreds. And that, again, I thought, why have you started investing yourself back in this shit pit of a football club? As Lee Gunner will tell you, and I got a bone to pick with this geezer. He does wind me up. I like Lee's content sometimes. Other times he gets to me, and I'll get to a point in a minute. Something he said the other day on Straight Facts with Terry Flewers. Love Terry. Football terrorist. I'm part of the community. I've been a member for a couple of years. I love it. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, and I thought, why on earth have you started investing in your heart and soul back in this shit pit of a football club? Because this is what it does to you. Yeah. Well, I might as well have just supported Leighton Orient or Barnet. I used to think that quite a lot. I thought, no, I chose Arsenal for a reason. Why? Because I was a goalkeeper as a kid. I loved David Seaman. I used to like John Lukic before him. I used to love Tony Adams, man. Mr. Arsenal. I loved him. And then, of course, we had the Wenger era. And when I was a kid growing up, all we used to hear about was how great Liverpool were. Me. And then you had all the United bandwagoners. Yeah? And I noticed that's what I'd turned into. Oh, you've never had a player like Thierry Henry, though, have you? Who cares? Who cares if they ain't had a player as ice cold as the Iceman Dennis Bergkamp, flipping Nicolas Dabizas at Newcastle on a sixpence and scoring one of the best goals I've ever seen. The goal he scored for Holland, the World Cup. Oh my days. Against Argentina. Them sort of goals. You know, just world class. Rare player Dennis was. My favourite gooner ever, I think. Him and Tony Adams. But I was living on the past. And I thought, I remember when Emery got sacked, we were a mess. We just got beat 3-0 by Man City. Stadium half empty. And they tore us to shreds. I think they went 3-up in about 12 minutes or something ridiculous like that. And Arteta was the favourite, and I was like, oh my days. I'm older than him. Mikel has only, in the last couple of months, turned 40. I'm 42, right? I've seen Arsenal win 5 leagues. 5 leagues. 2 old First Divisions and 3 Prems. When it's called the Premiership. I don't even know if we've won it since it's been called the Premier League. Yeah, but 3 Prems. God knows how many FA Cups, 6 or 7. 1 League Cup and 1 Cup Winners' Cup. So I've seen Arsenal win in every sphere of football, even on this great continent that we call Europe. And I'm getting to that bit because we are back in a certain competition after 7 long years. That's why I'm glad, not like the season just gone, but the season before that we didn't finish above Tottenham. When I look back, I'm glad Tottenham finished above us that season. Do you know why? Because I don't think this team were ready for the Champions League. Well, I didn't think they were ready. The way we played the season just gone, I think we would have definitely competed. And if we'd have been in Inter Milan, Tottenham's side of the draw, damn. How on earth did they not get to at least the semi-final? get beat by AC Milan. I mean, come on. I mean, it's so obvious Man City were going to win it. And well deserved. Well deserved, because they're the toughest group. Anyway, toughest side, route to the final. To beat Liverpool, beat Chelsea, beat Real Madrid. And they just beat them. They smashed all of them up. The way they smashed Liverpool up at Anfield. Ooh. The way they smashed Real Madrid up at home. Ooh. Scary. And you wonder why they beat us. It's like, well, when I look back at it now, I can see it, why they did it. At the time, it's frustrating when you see Rob Holding. You're thinking, put the tackle in. If that was Saliba, but would he have done anything different? I don't know. Just let Kevin De Bruyne shoot. Oh, what a surprise. 25 yards and he smashed it in the bottom corner. At the end of the season, I was seething. When I looked at Man City's bench and I looked at our bench with kids, people Arteta didn't trust, probably didn't want anymore, but they're on the bench, they're even playing for us. It's so frustrating. Now, Arsenal finished a very gallant, a very well-deserved runners-up. And for me, yes, we were the best team for 7.5, 8 months. But City were the best team when it mattered. The final 2-3 months, they nailed it. They nailed us to the dartboard, mate. They nailed us like I nailed the Arsenal pub quiz. Yeah, it's a great book, by the way. You don't want to cheat on the internet and know your history. Get that book and get your knowledge about your football club, the team you support, especially if you're a younger supporter. Now, people like Lee Gunner, right? He got his notoriety through being Mr. Controversial, Mr. Arsenal fans hate me because I've got an opinion that's against the narrative of the club. Well, Lee, no. Do you know what? I'm probably wrong, but he's made a new channel saying Lee Reacts. Do you know why? Because I think his other channel ain't doing as well as it used to. Do you know why? Because Arsenal are not only making great strides on the pitch, he said, right, he always changes things, right? He said, all I want is my team to compete. Well, Lee, we competed for the Premier League title. That wasn't good enough, though. That's a sackable offence because he didn't win it. If that was Real Madrid, he'd have been sacked. Okay, Lee. Another thing, he said, I've just watched it, and that's what's made me angry and made me want to make this video. Do you see Real Madrid fans celebrating, jumping around? Yeah, we got Jude Bellingham. Do you see Bayern Munich fans jumping around after big signings? Do you see PSG fans jumping around after big signings? No, you don't. Do you know why, Lee? Do you know why? Can you tell me? And why Arsenal fans celebrate maybe a little bit more online or around the Emirates, on camera, whatever, on AFTV, whatever, any social media. Why? Why is it? I'll tell you why. It's because we've been starved ever since we knocked the Highbury down in 2006 and moved into the Emirates and had Mr. Wenger in charge. Mr. Wenger, right, they say he revolutionised English football, and he did, right? And then something else came in, yeah, like the Guardiola school, where you had a sporting director who done your transfers, managed your books, done all your scouting, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, not Arsene Wenger. He did all that as well. He was a dictator, Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. And he threw Arsenal back 15 years. He's thrown us back 15 years. We are only starting to recover. For me, we haven't recovered till we win a Premier League. or we nail big ears, meaning the Champions League, which I always say we will win it in my lifetime, and I'm convinced Mikel Arteta will win the Champions League. I say it with chest, and he'll win the Premier League. I know he will. I just feel it. I could feel it last season, but I also felt it went out in my head. I thought we ain't gonna win this. It was after the Liverpool game. I was getting a bit jittery before, but when we lost that lead, and then the West Ham, then the Saints, then we got smashed at Man City. Yeah, I knew it was gone. But anyway, that's past history, but you can learn from that. And this Arsenal team seems to have an amazing ability go from adversity to good things. Bad press to good press. Now, because they went from not finishing below Spurs to obliterating Spurs on and off the field last summer and last season. We battered them in both games, and we totally outclassed them in the transfer window. This window, they got a new manager, Tottenham, Ange Postecoglou. I'm liking it. I actually think Tottenham have got something to be excited about for once. I think this geezer, he plays a 4-3-3. He's modern. He's offensive. He likes his tiki-taka, attacking football. He's just brought in James Maddison for 40 M's. I'm thinking, if Maddison's up for grabs for 40 M's, why aren't we signing him? I mean, he's not a bad player to bring off the bench, is he? You know what I mean? Or a bad player to start. He got an injury. But no, Arsenal's first signing is Kai Havertz. Now, I've got to say, underwhelmed. Was I bitterly disappointed? No. No, because if you watch Havertz at Leverkusen, his heat map will show you midfield, offensive midfield, to sort of Bukayo Saka, sort of on the right wing. So for me, Havertz, Granit Xhaka's just been sold for 21.5 mil, I think, to buy a Leverkusen. Last season, Roma were offering us 12 mil for him. We got basically an extra 10 mil for Granit having a good season. Granit, thanks for your service, bruv. Good luck. But you know what? I always said we'd never win anything major with Granit Xhaka, and we never did, apart from FA Cups. I said we'd never win the league with Granit Xhaka, and we certainly never win the European Cup, let alone put him be in it. Anyway, he's gone now, Granit Xhaka. A very divisive character. I was never his biggest fan, but I enjoyed watching him last season. And to be fair, I enjoyed watching him season before, apart from the red cards. But I don't think he got a red card last season. I might be wrong. Don't think he did. We didn't get many reds last season. Anyway, but we've got some fiery characters. But I like that. Zinchenko, fire. But Kai Havertz, what's your rating? Mine, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And I'll tell you for why. Because that could go down. I'll give, halfway through the season, I will review this video and 7 out of 10. Right? Because I think Arteta, we'll get on to Rice Baby in a minute, but it's something about Mikel Arteta. It's something magical about talking to him, and I don't know, and it brings a smile to my face when I heard what Rice said about Arteta. He's just desperate to play for him. It's just something special about him in all the right ways. Who would have thought this time, even last season, we would have signed Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Jurrien Timber. Timber really excites me. Really excites me, man. Timber, do you know what? Him and Havertz, I know what Rice is going to give us. He's going to give us 110%. We just broke the British transfer record. Let's just go Declan for a minute. Come on, Arsenal. We got Declan fucking Rice. 100 mil, 5 million add-ons. Have some of that Jack Grealish, Man City. We just broke the British transfer record. Arsenal. That's why, Lee, we celebrate a little bit, bruv. Because we're not Bayern Munich. We're not PSG. We're not an big oil club and a big established winning giant. We're a giant, but we're not a winning giant anymore. Because under Arsene Wenger and everything I was talking about, we've lost that winning mentality. Well, Arteta's bringing it back to the dressing room, mate. And he's bringing it back to the field. Yeah? We are up against a juggernaut in Manchester City. We're up against a juggernaut in Liverpool, a juggernaut in Man U, a juggernaut in Chelsea, and a new juggernaut called Newcastle, man. I ain't going to mention Tottenham's name. Yeah, they might play some fancy football, but come on. They'll be lucky to get in the top 4. Very lucky, in my opinion. Top 6 for me. And that's not me being cocky, right? I'll be happy again if we're in a title race. But Arsenal have got to try and get a trophy under the belt. But I think if we're going to get one, I think it'd be a big one. I do. But if we were just to win the League Cup or FA Cup next season, I'd take that. I'd take it, man. It's a cup. Do you know what I mean? But this is the beautiful continent of Europe where we will be back listening to that glorious music. 7 years! It's been 7 years of being shit. So shit, we weren't even good enough to qualify. But we have qualified with honours, and I cannot wait to try and get myself a ticket for at least one game. Because it's hard to get tickets for the Emirates, even being a member. Declan Rice, what does he bring? He's up there with Thomas Partey for interceptions, I think. I didn't like the way Partey fell off a cliff. I like the way Rice led his team to their first trophy in over 40 years, is it? Fair play to West Ham for winning that Conference League. That was not an easy final, not an easy opponent, and Rice led them. And West Ham, you should be proud of Declan. He's come through your youth academy, and what a baller we've inherited for a lot of money. But I believe he will be Arsenal captain. I believe there could even be a statue of him outside the Emirates one day, if all works out. Yeah, he could be a new Mr. Arsenal type character. He's vocal. He's big. He's strong. He's 6'1". He's a beast. He used to be a centre back, but he wants to be a more offensive midfielder. For me, he's a box to box. A Patrick Vieira was a box to box. People just think he was a defensive midfielder. No, he wasn't. He was what you call a box to box. Yeah? One end to the other. But Declan's a destroyer. For me, he's Arsenal's Rodri. Yeah, Rodri's a destroyer. He also can score goals, as we've seen in the Champions League final. He's got that in his locker. Declan Rice has got that. The goal Rodri scored in the Champions League final, Declan Rice has got that in his locker all day long. So that. And City came in for him, bid 90 mil. They were testing the waters. But you know what? Man U wanted him. Real Madrid was sniffing. But you know, Declan Rice said, I want Arsenal. That's why Man City pulled away. It wasn't this thing between Pep and Arteta. Man City pulled away because they didn't want to get embarrassed because he'd chosen Arsenal over Manchester City. It's a fact, right? For me, Rice is a huge, huge signing. But Yuri and Timber, a centre-back, who can play right back, who I think Ben White will have his hands full keeping his spot this season. If Saliba gets injured, thank God we've got a competent, I wouldn't say world-class, top-class defender to come in and replace him now. No Rob Holding. It's Jurrien Timber, Dutch international, Ajax, league winner. He's played in the Champions League. He's a very, very I've seen him play, but he's a very good player. He's quick. He's skillful. He's technically brilliant. He's a very Arteta player. And Ben White has got his hands full, mate. I think Timber will get his spot. And I think White will be fighting to get back in the team. I think we'll keep Tierney for one more season. I think Kieran will get more game time this season. I'm sure of it. Do you know what? This is how I think Arsenal will catch. Arsenal became too predictable at the end of last season. This season, we're going to become unpredictable. One, we won't have the same starting 11 every week. Man City don't. They chop and change all the time, don't they? Because they've got such a big squad. But you're not quite sure who's going to start sometimes in certain positions. Is it going to be Foden? Is it going to be Grealish? Is it going to be Alvarez? Normally Haaland, but do you know what I mean? Is it going to be a Kanji? Is it going to be Stones? Is it going to be Nathan Ake? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're just not quite sure. And that is what Arteta, he's had to slowly implement it. It's gone from clearing out, apart from Martinelli, Saka, who come through the academy. Martinelli cost 6 mil. I think he was an Edu Emery signing, Martinelli. Who else is still there? Kieran Tierney. 3 players. That's it. Xhaka's gone now. Let's talk of Thomas Partey leaving. Now, unless we get a replacement in first, Partey's going nowhere for me. And I think we need a player like a Partey to help Declan Rice settle in, quite frankly. I'm not quite sure how good Declan is breaking the lines. He's got to be able to break the lines, because that's how we function. But for me, Arsenal this season, we've got Florian Balogun back. Now, apparently, if you want him, he's going to cost you 50 million quid, not 20 to 85 million, 50 million. Personally, I think we should keep him, sell Eddie and Nketiah, buy Dusan Vlahovic. That's what I want to see Arsenal do. I want to see us. We're going to go for it. Let's go for it. Bring in Vlahovic. Offer him Balogun. Offer him Nketiah. Let's say, is 50 million. Eddie and Nketiah is worth 20, 25. That's 75 mil. Or 60 mil when Eddie. You know, just get him in. Just get him. He's a top striker. He's 23. He's left-footed. He's good in the air. He's big. He's powerful. He's a bit like Haaland. Nowhere near as good at the moment, but there's a lot of potential there. He could be our Haaland-type player. And people forget we've got Trossard as well. We're building a very, very strong squad. It's not team, it's squad that wins you Prems, that win you cups, that win you the biggest prizes of all. Pep Guardiola will tell you that. Alex Ferguson will tell you that. Jose Mourinho will tell you that. The best coaches in the world will tell you it's squads that win titles. The staff, the coaching staff, the backroom staff, the club, the fans, the atmosphere, all those passionate fans is what win us titles dreams, aspirations, not negative, toxic assholes like Lee Gunner. And yeah, Lee, you are an arsehole. And another thing, you say you've seen Arsenal win 5 leagues. Well, I've seen us win 5. And you've recently mentioned you turned 40. Well, I'm 42 and a half. And I only just remember. So I'm wondering how you remember that night at Anfield. Do you know what? I think you're full of shit, mate. He's full of fucking shit, that bloke. Anyway, this has been the Arsenal Blueprint. I'll be back when we make some more signings and some more outgoings. Because they're coming. Pre-season starts next week against this team. Last season we went to Germany. We played FC Nuremberg. This season they're coming to us, I believe. So I will give you a reaction. I'll do it before and after. And hopefully we get to see. In fact, I'll give you a reaction video once I've heard Rice speak. They're really, really interested in what Declan's got to say. I cannot wait to see Yuri and Timber in action. Anyway, peeps. Love, peace, Papagooners. Come on! This is going to be our season.